manufacture in India, and there lots of, you can say, not getting trust, the right level of trust that is required. And apart from that, I think I fully agree with this, whether it's cities, whether it's a government, whether it's a innovative startup, we have to come up with a solution that should bring comfort to the user so that they should be happy and satisfied that they will be not in trouble. So these three things factor a lot while we will be slowly moving on those aspects.
Wonderful. So I mean, that's about the consumer, right? Then definitely there is the ecosystem that Nishant also spoke about. T-Hub being very the purpose of T-Hub is to engage and encourage startups in the space of newer technologies and emerging technologies. In your opinion, gentlemen, what are those areas? Because when it comes to EVs, when it comes to anything to do with automotive, people think of large capex, large R&D, significant amount of only the big players can enter into this segment. Uh, uh, you know, uh, Probably that's the notion is in the mind of startups. So, in your opinion, are there any parts in this value chain that startups can look at, and any parts in the whole, be it software, be it components, be it anything that are where startups can really put their mind into and get ready for this ride? So probably Nishant, can you take that up, and then probably I'll request Saurabh to follow up on you.
Yeah, I was just answering some questions which were being raised by others as well. So,
Okay.
so my point here is that startups can definitely do a lot, because there's a lot of focus which is there on the integrated SaaS platforms, so software as a service in such cases, clearly. And that's applicable not only for charging management system, for locating and setting up these maps, for battery management systems, for vehicle management systems, where there's a lot of know-how I see in our country as well. Secondly, the startups could very well work. Specifically, I see because being part of the governing council at IT Delhi, I interact with multiple startups as well there, and we see that a lot of startups have very good ideas regarding how the risk of redundancy can be addressed with certain aggregates, replacement cost, initial alternate materials which can be used for lightweighting of electric vehicles. So they have done fabulous work in that space. Thirdly, startups are working in certain other areas, so like logistics with electric vehicles, for delivery, for passenger transportation. There a lot of things can be done. We've seen a lot of startups and other things like shuttle and others earlier on who've done good job there. And fourthly, I would say that specifically startups who want to design and engineer aggregates for manufacturing for electric vehicles, partnering with different companies, I think there's a phenomenal opportunity there. And because a lot of new materials, chemistries are coming into it, and there is so much of work which is being done, whether with the silicon, with graphite, with lithium, with metal, with polymer, and where I see that know-how can be really well deployed here. And I always feel that when you align with certain startups and bigger corporates, I always call that 1 + 1 = 11 is not 2. So that is the kind of approach which we have to bring in here. So, and definitely they're able to do it much faster with the kind focus. And how one thing just for startups I would like to reiterate, since Parinu shared this point, which I learned from Israel: fail fast, fail cheap. And in Israel, what they do is that they invest into startups where a founder has had a failure before, because more so because they say that if anybody has had a failure before, they understand what's like to fail, and their ability to succeed after that is way higher than any other startup. Not to disorient or any startups who've not had any such things, but just an approach which I quite liked. And see that how we need to see that on the path, how we reorient ourselves and redirect wherever required on this journey, because the technology is so fast evolving, so we need to be on our toes at all times.
Thank you, Nishant. From Saurabh, what are your view on the opportunities for startup from kind of given the digital
Yeah.
load that you?
I
Yeah,
think Nissan summarized well. Only additional point I would like to say that in this area, even well-defined problem doesn't exist, and that's why, as much as you get connected with the OEMs and suppliers, whoever is trying to make something, get attached in the level so that you can help them in defining the problem, and solution comes later on. And rather than having one successful solution on the table, have multiple failures, couple of success, and then try to show the willingness of innovation that you can bring in, and a way of like getting deeper into problem, because that's the only way we will able to reach. And in my experience, some of our customers, which is a well established automotive OEM, they are establishing this startup culture within their department, because they know they cannot run like a classical way of problem solving. So, and I think in that way, T-Hub is the great opportunity and ecosystem where those problem, high level problem statement can be brought in, and then let us see what we can do. And then there is a tremendous opportunity in and around.
absolutely, absolutely. I think that's really the truth. Is the challenges now, even the consumers are while figuring out, even on the supply side, organizations are still figuring it out. So that's the beauty of this space, that there's so much that we can learn, evolve, and grow, and deliver maximum value to the consumer, and that's really true. I mean, I think we are at the fag end of this, webinar. I have time for a couple of questions. So if I just pick up, a couple, one or two for each of your panelists. Saurabh, there's a question for you. Is there any specific way, Tata Technologies is working in terms of the, battery swap technology for is something that is coming up for for your vehicles, because you do have a product in this space. The Nexon EV is quite a affordable EV in the market. So is there a battery swap kind of
Yeah.
opportunity?
Yeah, so even if you look back at the history, even in around 2010 and 11, it was the first concept EV that Tata Technology designed manufacturing by itself, and they have showcased in the market that how the future look like. And even 2015, we are working with our customers. So whatever story I was talking about, we are deeply involved in design development and in every aspect with the customer in the battery swap. And some other places that Nissan was talking about, the second life and third life. One of our customer, their key business model is that after 60% life get into the vehicle, then they will offload those battery and they will use in the second generation use in the cities in the different aspect. So their business model driven in and around that. So we are working in those particular. So because we serve our customer and these ideas and things happens with them and we work together. So multiple things is going on, whether it's a swap, whether it's a reusability and decarbonization. So multiple things depending on the what type of customer we are working.
Great. So one last question, Saurabh, sorry, Nishant, to you. Nishant, while JBM is a large conglomerate in this space, and any plans of JBM entering in the consumer side of electrical vehicles? Is there any other platform where startups slash anybody who has interest in this space can engage with an organization like JBM?
Sure. So as of now, on the vehicle side of it, we are focused on public transportation as a space because we focus on TCO and asset utilization. And I said that's the highest in that case. But in our battery business or in our for charging opportunities or for any SaaS requirements or any aggregates as such, or we would do a lot of work in artificial intelligence and machine learning for really tracing and tracking such kind of solutions in our EV and other areas. So any ideas, we are always looking forward to new ideas and ways to work with startups, because I always share with my colleagues, whatever we see that where we get stuck, that's where the startup starts. So because that's how they are built. The genesis of startups are like that. And I've had opportunity of engaging personally with multiple startups across the world. And we do work a lot with startups because definitely they bring in a totally different approach, a OTB perspective out of the box. And clearly that's the idea, how we can make, as I said, 1 in 111 working with the startups. So
Great, great. So we are on time. I take this opportunity to thank both of you, Nishant and Saurabh, for taking time out on a busy day for sharing your views with T Hub, and more importantly, encouraging and kind of giving thought starters to the startups who are in the listening and who are wanting to get into this space, because they need some thought starters. They need some spark, where to start, and that is something which is, I think, most of them would have probably got an indication. At least it's 1 hour is too small as a time frame to discuss this topic. But the truth is, if you're a keen person, you get some telltale signs of some, be it battery recycling, or be it SaaS software, cell delivery. So you know where to pick the baton and start running from here. So as a I think this is the one thing to thank you so much for both of you for taking time out for this conversation. We at T Hub really appreciate you, and I'm sure we will be in touch in the coming years to come, and we look forward to hosting you at T Hub very, very soon. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Sid.
Shankar?
Thank you,
Yeah.
Shankar.
Thank you, Piyush, for this wonderful moderation. I'd like to extend my thanks to Mr. Nishant and Mr. Saurav for the wonderful discussion you had on mobility. I'm sure many of the doubts been put over through our attendees are being clear. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure to host both of you today.
thank you. I congratulate T Hub for such initiatives and the steps they're taking. Would be happy to connect with you and all the startups at any point in time. Pleasure.
Thank you. Definitely look forward.
Thank you, Nishant. And once again, thank you, Mr. Saurabh. It was a pleasure talking to both of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you, everyone, for
Thank you.
on this.
And to all the attendees, please don't forget to share your feedback. It will appear on your screen as soon as we end this webinar. Thank you for joining us today. Have a great day.